Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 454th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 13th, 2022. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host today. And we are hosting Mr. Mehran Keshe once again here in these weekly Knowledge Seekers series. And I think he's ready to begin here today. Hello, Mr. Keshe, are you there?
Yes, good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever and wherever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute knowledge sharing. We thank many of you who've been with us on Tuesday and Wednesday. Some of you missed the Wednesday because we linked up as part of the live testing with Rick's workshop. It was literally a workshop for many of the knowledge seekers who are around with Rick and many others to test the new knowledge. So in a way, if you were with us, go back to the part of the Wednesday with Rick. It became a public testing zone. As you can listen to the recording, we brought you inside what we call flight testing. Your wishes, their decision, and the people who came in, the 3 Canadians, even though one of them was a Canadian, it was a beautiful job that we did. And we learned a lot. We tested something which cannot be explained outside, but maybe you can understand. We have the capability to accommodate 2 people in 1 seat. We asked the Canadians, the couple who came, they're both very thin and slender, to join each other on 1 seat where the one partner sits on the lap of the other, but both within the confine of the same, what we call head unit. This was important test, one of the final tests we had to do to confirm transmutation of the beautiful people, where we make one body join together as we see it, but 2 souls, to see how they react, to see if the 2 souls work independent, as we have the beautiful people in our systems. We see one body with a number of souls operating inside it when the human race is not ready, but then we hear in these systems a coming time. Each soul is speaking for itself. We see a collection of lights within the system. And the beauty of it is, in the coming time, we'll see, as we've done with many other things, what happens when these beautiful people decide to open up. One decides to go to Germany, one decides to go to Brazil, one decides to go to Australia. What would happen to the division of the physicality where the common soul exists within the matter of the soul of physicality? These are proof of what is to come. When we open up again in a couple of months' time with the new systems which are under development and production, we will see not one soul light. We will see a number of soul lights. Then, what would be our reaction? We see people we've never seen before, but they're all from the same origin, from the same mother. It's like the mother giving birth at the same time to one Chinese, one black, one white, one Australian, and one South American from the same womb. We are not used to it, but we have to get prepared for it, because with the test of yesterday confirmed to us, we can give room to beautiful people to show themselves in the essence of themselves. They are not criminals who got be confined into sanitariums and mental institutes where we should have been in there and let them free to live their lives. We are the criminal, not them. We saw for the first time this week when one of the knowledge seekers watched her own soul, her soul of physicality, leaving her body. You were doing the test with us when we explained it. And then she asked herself a question in the matter of the physicality. What am I doing here when they're gone? For the first time, we've seen the departure of the two could fully explained by the knowledge seeker. These technologies are, in a way, hybrids of physicality and energy of the man we call the soul. You buy a hybrid car, petroleum and electric. Now, man, for the first time, can see, can operate, can feel the hybrid system is made of. The beauty with the testing of past few days has been an amazing cycle of changing. As I said, with what we learned in the past week, 2 weeks with the flight systems, we had to change all our systems in production. And as our guy said, we're delayed by another 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Now we have to implement the new understanding. We have all the time in the world. Mankind has been ready for this, has been working to this target for billions of years. What does a few more days, a couple of weeks will change? Not much. But there'll come in time when is the right time. They'll come exactly where it should be. Even these delays are preset for us to get that time. It's just waiting for the game to start. A little bit of delay, but when the game starts, man will be the front runner in the game of the space travel through the dimension of the soul. What we learned this week from our systems is one after another. Last week we saw the fly of the soul and the soul of physicality, and even the combination of the energy of the physicality, like that, leaving the body. We had just a body on the table. But knowing the way we build systems, we can always recuperate fully. And we got the knowledge seeker back in its position. The beauty of it is that now we gain enough knowledge. We have enough technologies in our hand that by introduction of the new systems which will come into LINS in the next few weeks, we go directly for transmutation and transportation, maybe a few tests in the center, and then test across mobile systems and satellites and what we call transplanetary system, where you can go from Africa to China and people in China to confirm online that you are aware. You might look Chinese when you are in China, but you carry a paper to show how you look when you are back in Africa. It's a beautiful thing if many of you have not seen or heard of. When you travel from Ghana to China, you see Chinese who speak Chinese, but then you see blacks who speak Chinese better than the Chinese. The Chinese community in some cities have a number of black Africans who live in China, have children, married into natives, and they learn the language. When you go to the Chinese embassy, you see a black man talking Chinese behind you with another Chinese or with another black man. You just go, wow, what have I missed? It's very much like when you have a psychological or some sort of brain lock that you expect certain people to speak certain ways, but not this way. When you live in England, every time you saw a Pakistani and Indian, They spoke English. But you go to Italy, you see the Indians that speak Italian, you speak English to them. I don't speak any English. How can be? You're a British colony. I left a long time ago. I don't know English. And then you have to reset your brain. Pakistanis can speak Italian too and accept it. It's a change of understanding. And this will come to all of us in the coming days and weeks and months and years. Not only we have to accept, we can be, and speaking, as we saw last week, the girl could speak fluent English before. We had a heck of a time getting her to even understand English. So we are in for a bigger surprise. We are looking for the Chinese who speaks in the native African language, but that's nothing. Now we have to understand the language of the universal community. We have some knowledge seekers who claim they come from universal community and we all sorts of things using the Keshe Foundation. But soon you will see that lying, or they're using the Keshe Foundation and their excuses to make notoriety for themselves. We see that in the Romanian community. And this is ridiculous to see how things will set up. We will see the true essence of the knowledge. You will see the true understanding of the knowledge. And then you understand what is to come. We heard yesterday people not want to eat. We transmitted water. We sent packages. We received packages. Did it arrive? Some in different shape or form. Some people guess, some people from the control room of the flight center send materials to other knowledge seekers alive with Rick. Some received something, some too shy to say what they received. It's the emotion, it's the feeling. I want to ask you all today, now, is about 9:27 Central European time. Exactly about 2 hours ago, I sent a message to the soul of all living man. I wondered if you felt it. The energy and the message was so strong that I literally lifted off the bed, maybe 5 minutes. It means if you are ready, you have received the message. You have received the love, you have received the knowledge. Go back and see, did you feel anything in the past 2 hours? As one of the knowledge seekers says, I just had for a few milliseconds just the taste of the chocolate. Did you receive the taste of love of the community? Then you're enlightened. Then you understand the change is about to come. Then you understand humanity is ready for transportation, and many other things that the man needs to do. In this process of change, in this time, mankind has become ready to accept the change. We are just the tools. As I said, if the aliens, as you call them, would have brought you the knowledge, this was a knowledge of the aliens, we just imported it. Now the machine systems are made by man, that the man has to accept, has no alternative, has no option but to understand it's mature by itself. Man has matured that he can make this system, that through it he can make and understand his own creation. If he would have given you your phone, it would have been they came and gave the knowledge. This time we transfer the knowledge through limbs. We build it here by man, that the man becomes aware of his own advancement, understanding of the knowledge and the technology. We have not brought anybody from the aliens from outside the space to build the systems. It is made by man for the man to understand the evolution. a revolution in science and technology, and evolving to understand the science of creation. If we would have brought it and given it to the system, and I could get you to see what the other things, it all would have been what the Christ did, resurrection of the dead. But this time, you're seeing is made by man for man. And that's the change. As we said all the time, the change has to come within. Because otherwise, man goes back to the donkeys and to everything else he did centuries ago. When you build the most beautiful motorway on a beautiful land, if you leave it, it goes back to the land. But if you build it that is used and nourished, it will be a road destination for the rest of the life of the planet. And this is what we do. We allow the systems to be made by man. We teach man, we enlighten man. And then, as is made by man, all of you come in, you sit down. Just think what you've done in past few weeks and past couple of days. You come to see the marvels of achievement of the man. Before you went to watch the skies, if the Wright brothers could send their information that you could see something in the sky. Now you have to see and feel the flight of the soul of the man through the systems which is made by the man. You cannot see anything fine, but you can see the flight of Panse, the soul of yourself. The change is fundamental. This time we brought the change that every man has the opportunity to achieve that goal, to become the captain of their own soul. As I said, nobody can decide. When you sit in this lights room and you watch and you see and you ask for people to do things, you see in sincerity who is the true lover. I watched many couples and I can tell you who was really in love with who and who is in there because he has to be there. There's nothing hidden when you sit, when you stand on my side of the system. Remember when we ran the test in the Sansano, I told you many times, I watched my own murderer lying to me. The man who planned to carry out the murder. I just needed to ask the question in front of the system. And the soul showed. We see the same thing in these systems. Nothing has changed between systems in the Sansano and in NETS. But this time, it's more sophisticated. It's been made much more elaborate, but in a way much simpler. We see the lies between the couples. We see what people lie to us when they're in the system. We see who really loves who and in what essence goes. We watched the most beautiful love relationship between the two girls you watched coming and explaining. That love is so pure that man wishes for it, even though they're two girls, two beautiful women. And then we watch the couples who've been together for 40 years and are distances the moon to earth. But we've been together for 40 years. We need to understand man cannot lie to the source of the soul of man. And we see the changes. Hopefully, and in the coming week or so, we will come to the Keshe Foundation in a very different way. We prepare the whole of the humanity for change. What is to come and how we can accept the change. We've seen in the teachings of the Tuesday, the knowledge seekers collectively try to promote the soul of the true world. One in defending a faith and one in trying to be aggressive with the faith. We saw Putin defending the Russian church, and we saw Pope trying to be as it is, stealing and thieving and lying is a job of the radical. We need to sit and watch and see how these two world leaders in the coming days and weeks will change if you, as knowledge seekers, through the work you did, have managed to reach them. As I said last week, we had one Dutch lady who did not tell us in the teaching, in the testing, that the picture given to her on the mobile phone, she thought it would be Bill Gates or somebody else on a Thursday, on a Wednesday test, or the Tuesday test. But in the German teaching last Friday, she said she saw the figure of a Middle Eastern Arab. In fact, the picture which was on the seat she elevated is one of the most notorious murderers in the state of nation of Iran. She felt the pain, and then she could elevate. And in beauty of it, we brought the flag of Iran off the lens center down. So we know the state of truthness is back in the state of Iran. And with it, we have seen within days the change in the talk within the administration. Compromises are on the table. But she wished for peace. She wished for elevation. Elevation is for them to realize the murders they carried out. In so many ways, what we saw with the elevation of the soul of one man, which runs in according to the government as his main key in the murdering the majority of the Iranians on the street, did not come by sentencing him to The Hague or the rest. It was service to humanity there and then by a very old lady from Dutchland, the home of the family. You have to understand the power you have, the ability you have gained through the elevation of the soul of the man. Sooner or later, you have no choice. And then you'll find you cannot abuse, because in abusing, you abuse yourself. In trying to be aggressive, trying to gain something through what is not the correct way of the foundation of the life of the man, you'll be the one who will be losing, not gaining. As I always say with the Rex magnet, the one in the center is the creator, and the worse you can create, the more you'll be pushed to the outer edges of the rings. The reason for it is very simple. When you plan the wrong way, you release the wrong direction, and you move out of the circle. The whole purpose of the creation is servitude and nothing else. Doesn't matter how you look at it. Welcome to my community. I hope you enjoy it the way I do. In the test of this week and in what is to come, you will see a new evolution in science. You will see a knowledge which the man accepts in a gradual introduction of past few years. That is our knowledge, belongs to us. It is part of what we need to do and what we have to do. Just because we learn the knowledge and we can make the system does not mean that we stop working. Actually, now we have to work much harder to change the mistakes of the past. And man has made mistakes for billions of years and millions of years on this planet. And now it's time for him to correct all those mistakes of the past. And then man will be busy for a few more billion years to correct the past time. It is not our work to punish. It is our work to elevate, as you've seen it yesterday and the day before. We went to the meeting of Rick's teaching yesterday without any notice. That there were not people there preset to come to be. They were there, the knowledge seekers, 80, 70, 80 of them plus. On one channel, which we always use for our close knowledge seekers, and we saw the change, we saw the difference, we saw what it came, how some souls are loved by some, and how some souls are elevated by some, and how man puts himself forward to be me, where man should be the last one in the queue, let it be. We observe the emotion of the knowledge, the transfer of the technology of the soul, not mechanical systems which are made. In a way, you went to the churches to find your soul and pray to the temples or whatever name you believed in to find the elevation of your soul. Now you have systems which can do that. You cannot come in to stay on it. You cannot use this system to promote yourself. And you're not there to gauge, oh, I was this size, now I'm this size, because the next second it can be no size. Mankind will learn how to use these systems. And our team is edging to the final stages. We still have a long way to go to complete. But the interim system, which is coming up, and you will see the new 4 systems which come into the exhibition center in the coming weeks, is another revolution to the whole technology. To you, it might not look anything, but it's literally a donkey work from the one we have here to a Rolls Royce and the rocket technology to what is to come. Even our own people who produce it have not realized what they're coming for. We are transmitting between the physicality to the dimension of the fluid plasma. And in a very easy way, you will see. For the first time, the plasma power generators will come into operation, not to produce electricity, but to produce the currents of the plasma level, which man has not even understood. You're still busy with trapping it in CERNs and your tokamak. You have not even understood you're going the wrong way up the road. In so many directions and in so many understanding, man has made fundamental mistake in understanding the process of the creation of magnetic fields. Instead of releasing to show its power, they trap it and they squeeze it to get power out of it. And this is where the whole knowledge has gone wrong. The whole process of understanding has gone wrong. As I always said, I remember in Barletta, the knowledge seekers from Spain was sitting in the front row with his wife, squeezing his eyes and body, trying to move the item object in front of him. And I said, boy, you have not. Sit back, you relax, and you just say, it would be nice to see you move. If your pleasure is to please me, you will see the object move. You to show, to see the beauty of the flight of a butterfly, you have to let it fly. You will not show its beauty. It is locked up together and sits. But it's where the man has not understood the knowledge of the beauty of the creation. When you let the soul go, it shows its beauty, not when it's trapped and go back. This is why in the enhancement units you come in, we keep on encouraging you, go, go. It's like the mother bird having a little chick on top of the high tree and encouraging the little chick, take the flight, nudging them to the corner, jump off, you'll be safe. And this is what we are doing in the enhancement. We're just nudging the soul bird of the man. Just try to go to the other unit. Just jump. Just try to see if you can jump and see if you can land safely on the other side. The nest is done with. It's time to take the last flight, the last time you come back to the nest and take a flight of the fancy in your Nassau community. And my job is that little nudge. Just try to go to that unit. I leave it to you. Whenever you're ready, just to see you bend a little bit, you all twist to the left, but oh no, what happened if I fall? You need a few more days to get the courage to jump. And it's like a nest with a few. One will take that flight, as we saw with a couple of them this week. And there was much to see what would it be, would I land there? And some of us, like our Canadians, come in with a passport in our pocket that if we go, at least we know who we are, where we're going to land. We are Canadians. It was beautiful to see our Canadian friends with a passport in their pocket. But they were not ready. It is interesting, if you look at it, it's the same system. We set everything the same. The beautiful German couple feel each other's lap, hug, cuddle. And the others just wish I couldn't feel anything because you have not established it. You have not learned, you have not understood that it needs to be a true love for both sides to agree. We got to understand that we are in that process. If you go back to one of the old intros we had, where it says the man took the wing and jumped off the bridges and buildings and mountains to see if he can fly. Some lost their lives because they got it the wrong way. But this time there is no loss of life because it's your soul and it can be brought back in. But you learned. The mankind will learn to be kind. Mankind will understand to be safe. Mankind will become the beauty of the light of the Creator in the universes and not just on earth. But it's mankind who has to learn. The race of the man has gone through enough hardship, destruction, destroying, and being proud to do so. And then blaming the others for it, that what I'm doing is for your sake. As I said to the Iranian leadership in the past few days, let people decide. We took weeks ago the love of us from the clergy of Iran, and within weeks we saw what happened. Go back to my teaching. I said I have disconnected from all from Iranian administration because of the injustices. And within a few weeks, we have seen. And they will not be there very soon the way it is. They might keep the turbines in the mosques, but the power of the soul of the man has been released. We don't take part in politics, but we dictate the soul of the man. They cannot find enemies within because the only enemy within is themselves. In the coming days, in the coming weeks, in the coming months, we'll see the same kind of revolution across Iran. In the coming weeks and months, we will see the establishment of what we call peace and how things will go and how things will take shape and how we will see the transformation and transportation of the soul of the man. You'll see how knowledge seekers gradually start testing. What we did yesterday with Rick and many of you online, and many of you go and listen to it or be listened to in the future, we start to show you to be there, to be part of, to be yourself. in how you need to come. In a way, we show you the theory and everything else in this teaching. And part of what we do, the workshops with Rick, brings you to sit and test the reality and practicality. In a way, the two arms of the teaching and testing with Rick's teachings on Wednesdays and what we do on Thursdays gradually come together. We see we don't need blueprint days. Wednesday is where we test how far humanity has gone across this planet. There were people from 20, 30 different nations and nationalities, races and creeds in past 2 days on the internet on Wednesday and much more on Thursday, on Tuesday. In a way, the teaching has been for one citizen, one planet, one nation. And this will go through in a different way. We have brought in, and will announce in the coming hours, the establishment of a new organization, which allows the understanding of the correct conduct of the man through his souls for his knowledge, technology, and science. In a way, you cannot cheat anymore. In a way, you don't need the patents anymore. In a way, you're responsible for what you do in the correct conduct of your life. And then we'll see what will be the next thing. We'll see how the humanity will change. In the coming weeks, as we go for transmutation, flight systems and transmutation systems in the, what we call the center, many of you will come to be, to see, to be at. As I said to the knowledge seekers yesterday in the flight zone, Keshe Foundation will ask the government of Austria to appoint what we call immigration officer at the Keshe Foundation Learning Center in the coming days. The same will be the first immigration officers in the United States as the first one to fly in will be in America. They have to stamp his passport that is left the nation, that when he comes here and flies back with us or with a public transport, he can be endorsed and is entered his own territory. All these things are temporary. We are ready to go to that step. I have already discussed that in Keshe Foundation to start the work with the Austrian government to make the center an international, what we call arriving center. We cannot start the transmutation, we cannot start the mobile system unless we have the full support of Austrian immigration officers within the center, where you land and they confirm they've seen you landing and they can endorse your passport that you're still not here as a legal immigrant. This is the next step of the work we will see in the coming hours, in the coming weeks and days as we go along. In a different way without you knowing, we tested this yesterday with the knowledge seekers within the system and with the knowledge seekers in Rick's workshop. Without you knowing what you were busy with what we gave you, we monitored the background. Whose souls has arrived in the center and who has already with the pure wishes arrived. We received 2 souls within the center. One was Jalal. I hugged him. Thank you. There's one more knowledge seeker, which is Rick. He arrived with us in a very short time. And it was easy, as we noticed. Now you have to learn how to manifest yourself when you arrive. How you leave the life of physicality behind. If I would have accepted you in the system, I have to explain to the immigration officers I have a body here, which I still cannot send back. The process is literally as it is. You don't need huge instruments and machinery to transmute the soul. You can do it within the structure of your physicality. The most important part of our work is not to create magic. It's to create a science, and from it, a technology that cannot be questioned. It has to be in parallel with the full understanding of the totality of the humanity, not just for a few individuals that we create again the priesthood, the lies and cheats of the past via the few who has access to it. It has to be accessible by the dog, the man, the cat, the fish, the monkey, and the rest. The elevation of the soul has to be in totality, not elites, another elite that the man become the king of the animals. As we destroy the kingship within the man, we destroy the kingship within the structure of the spirit. We do it by ourselves, and through that, we understand the mistakes of the past. We come to understand the future of the mankind. We come to be part of understanding of totality of what we can. One cannot overrun the others, one cannot override the others. There's accommodation, and it's accommodating. In yesterday's test, we clearly indicated it, and it was tested for that reason. In a way, it became much, much easier to be. We asked the knowledge seekers in the final to choose someone to come to. They chose one person. Rick's team in the workshop, we had a woman volunteer. Because I knew who they chose, I said to them, no, you cannot, it's got to be a man. But the soul of the woman has already moved on, because on the receiving units where we had two people, they both felt a woman. The black hair. The lady is Spanish. If she's black, I don't know. But that's the emotion where on the receiving unit, the two received. And I think they talked about it maybe in the interview afterwards. Which means we cannot override. We can receive it, and man cannot interfere with the truth, the one who wants to give. The giver is always a giver. And then if we want to receive, because on the receiver, what they call on the sending side of the unit, nothing is. These little things continuously confirms how the systems are set. As I explained to the knowledge seekers when they come out, to most of them, how the system works, what it is. The structure inside the room is explained. Slowly. At the beginning, we were very conservative. Now we explain a lot of things to the knowledge seekers. They understand, because from now on, they are part of the system. They are part of the structure to change for themselves. As I said, your life starts, the true life of the soul, it starts the minute you leave, not when you leave. It ends. Many of you will practice, many of you will try to see if you can do. But don't forget, practice practice makes perfect. You have to learn more and more and be persistent to understand your soul, not somebody else's. In a way, we give you the soul of the system, we give you the soul of the knowledge of the man, and you just try to go. We've seen very strange things put in the way online. We've seen knowledge seekers who come in that I have to be in control, I have to understand, and they go empty-handed in knowledge of the physicality, but the soul has already reached elevation. We've seen people who come in with aggression, and they are there to be, I came here to fly, you fly me. But Sally said, this is the flight of the souls. The physicality has no home. You abuse enough outside. You think it's your right to abuse even inside. We're in your soul. Your soul will not allow it. In a way, as I explained once, it cannot be any more hit and run accidents. Because when you hit, you have to stay there and sort it out. Then you find out, I don't want to be in any hit job. And this is how the man will change. You cannot run away from what you set up, but you are there to see why you have set up. Why am I here? Always said I'm a judge, the executor, and watch what happens. But the judge and the executor as a watcher, not as a doer, as a judge and executor. I watch how the people who misconducted and how people did wrong, then claiming to be perfect, then claiming it's somebody else's mistake, then claiming I didn't do anything, all played back for themselves to balance their books with their souls. The process is very simple. The time of hiding behind the curtain is gone, because there is no curtain to hide except your own ignorance. Ignorance of not knowing everything is on display and can be played and is there to be seen. We work to develop a technology that can prove the science. That there is no mysticism. There is no more those who were in the temple, those who were privileged to it, they made their temple and then they became the abusers. The technology was displayed in front of thousands, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people in the past week. And it will become a cornerstone for billions of people to watch, to learn. Yesterday, and the day before session, was not there just to prove the technology, but was there for those of you who became satellite to accept the first position of you before you know it, the spread of the knowledge. If we come to you with a preset mind, then you set your mind to do something. When we come the way we come yesterday and the day before, those of you who accept the position of satellite have already started spreading the knowledge through your soul. Your first test was done without you knowing. In a way, we triggered the engine. We just want to see how it'll run. This is why we ask as many of you to become satellite. Many of you to become that there to support, to spread. You think when you become a satellite, knowledge seekers is what you give to the other knowledge seekers or citizens of your nation or your area. The soul of those who became satellites, because it's chosen by the soul and transmitted to physicality, is what I call the psychosomatic condition of life. Those souls who accept that position will do the same across. When you have a satellite, the satellite does not distinguish between the Apple mobile phone, Samsung, or another operator or another company. Its job is to see and equally distribute and reach that if an Apple calls, it can transfer it to Samsung, and it's not for Apple exclusive. Those of you who became the satellite and your soul chose you and you're still adding to your numbers, have that beauty. Your soul is not a beauty in the elevation of the soul of man only. The dog in your area has already been trained. So the cat and the fish. So the tree and so the stone. Now you understand why we ask for something. It's very much, as I said, if you listened, as we asked for universal council members. It's your soul who brings you to that position. Don't push that I want to become a satellite if the soul is not ready. Those who became the satellite understood, because there's another dimension to it, you become the satellite even for those who are from not this planet, but they're here as a man, that they understand through the soul level, they understand. None of them ever listens to the knowledge seekers teaching. You become like that. If you heard in Islamic world, the speaker on top shouts for Azan, and the rest of the village and district know, your soul is in that. Shouts at everyone. When he shouts Azan on top of that, what we call Mamba, the Jew, the Christian, the Muslim, Zoroastrians, the dog, the cat, all hear the same voice. But it depends which one believe in that voice and what it means to them. So Muslim is time of devotion to go to the mosque. It's a time to pray to create. To the Jew, oh God, not them again. At least we have a rest for a few hours. Now for the Christians, another meaning, and the other one, and the dog says this noise again. It is understanding the reason why you became satellites. And many will become satellites. The voice, the soul of the man, and also to knowledge seekers, is we send it from here. You are in another position. And like a wind, this will go across one to another. The process of the testing this week was done specifically to, in a way, to awaken the soul of the man across this planet. And it's woken enough that we could feed it today, as I said, 2 hours before the teaching. Did you feel it? Or it was just another day? The soul has received it, but the physicality is still in the dream. In the next few weeks, the Keshe Foundation will go in depth of the development of the technologies that we become immediately what we call ready for transmutation and transportation. One of the targets of the Keshe Foundation in the very first trials will be the manifestation of the creatures from outside the planet. That we start familiarizing you with what it is, how it is, and how it looks, and how it will be. It will not be anymore just trying to get you from here to there. Is to familiarize with mankind that when you start what we call planetary system flights in January, February, you already are familiar with people you might see in the space. The creatures of the creed. You don't get on the line to the soul of the mother. Mom, they have 20 legs and 15 eyes. You then look in the mirror. You look the same because you're in the same environment. Mom, I have 15 eyes and 20 legs. Mom says, don't come back home, you're gone crazy. I send you a picture. This is me. But on planet Zeus, we have to teach you, to train you, to become, to understand what is to come. And then man is ready to spread the knowledge of Mitra in a correct way across the universe to the children. As I always said, I was born as a Russian, I as Russian. Because the beginning and the end is the same. Man has put different names on it, but Mitra always said, don't put the. This is the principle we created the cycle of what we call life on this planet. Man chose the physicality. Now we have brought the what we call correction tool, not prison, but the freedom. Thank you very much for today. And I hope you learned that today's teaching was this week's teaching. This week's workshop, great. This week, live presentation that you were part of it. And monitor how the bells in Vatican will ring and how what we hear from Moscow. You still need to elevate the other two. And some worked on Charles yesterday. But when you handle with or you work with residents of a house, you have to speak with the owner of the house what will happen to his residents. And this is why we brought in the Italian Prime Minister, the owner of the house, and his what I call rented tenants lease has come up in Vatican. It's time to give back to the nation the property and start a new life for those who understand what this means. The lease of the Vatican was not renewed this time. Now we'll go back to the roots. We take the stones of Vatican to the Colosseum. And you do it as Italians, not as outsiders. But this time, it will not be animals and men killing each other, but it will be what I call the arena for elevation of the soul of the man to see the universe and universal community. Not of the animals, but of equal souls. Rick, take us through a break and we come back and we'll carry on with the second part.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Kesh. Get things arranged here and we'll go for a short break. This is the lined up. This is the 454th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 13th, 2022. Okay, we'll be back in a few minutes after these messages.